Hello YouTube, this is Froogle. Now here's a question I get asked a lot, is what do I use to actually fly? What equipment do I use to control the aircraft? I actually have two sets of equipment, but most of the time I'm using this, which is all Saitek. It's a Saitek Yoke, I think it's the ProFlight Yoke, the Saitek switch panel, and I have two Saitek throttle quadrants down here, giving me no less than 6 independent levers, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 buttons just on my throttle quadrant, plus all the buttons I have up here on the yoke, plus all the switches and the buttons and the knobs that I have up here on my switch panel. So in this video, I'm just going to walk you through my setup, show you the Saitek stuff that I have, show you how it works. So for some of you who are considering getting a yoke, I know a lot of you don't fly with yokes, and a few of you have asked me, what about the Saitek one? You're going to see all about it and see all about the modularity of the whole thing here. So here we go. Okay, so let's start off with the yoke. Saitek's flight system is actually modular in that you can buy bits to bolt onto it. So the base of all that is the yoke here. It clamps to my desk with a little plastic, large plastic bracket here, which is actually very cool. My desks are glass and they're very thin. And prior to getting Saitek, I actually used the CH Products yoke. And when I got my new desk, this ultra thin glass desk, I couldn't attach it anymore. A lot of the clamps that you get on the yokes are fairly chunky and they need a chunky desk to attach to. Not so with the Saitek. It's completely adjustable. There's a huge bolt underneath here, plastic bolt that you can extend and shorten, and it will pretty much attach to anything. So this is the yoke of choice for attaching to a thin desk as well as a thick one. But if you have thin desks, this is what you want. So you have this base system. It has holes on top that you can mount the rest of their product line to. So I have a switch panel here which is designed for Cessnas, and it's really good. I have an ignition switch, a magneto switch here, so I can go right mag, left mag, both, and then start, and then once the engine fires up, knock it back onto both. My master battery, my master electric switches are right here. Avionics master, then fuel pump, de-ice, pitot heat, and then down here my lights, so panel, beacon, nav, strobe, taxi and landing lights, and a nice satisfying chunky gear lever here for raising my landing gear when I take off. This panel has custom drivers that you get from Saitek, and out of the box most of the built-in Cessna type general aviation aircraft in FSX work just fine. Some of the larger aircraft, the more complex aircraft like an NGX, they don't necessarily work with all the switches, but the key ones that you are going to want, like this magnificent gear up lever, always works. So typically if you're watching my videos and you hear a loud clunk soon after takeoff, that's me flicking my large knob here, to raise my landing gear. Now the yoke itself, very cool. You can't see, but there's a button on the front here, button here, button here. This one I typically bind to push to talk. So if I'm on TeamSpeak or even on VATSIM, that's my radio talk button. This one I'll bind to recentering track IR on the front here. So it's out of sight, I can just whack that, reset my track IR. You have an 8-way hat here. If you don't have track IR and you want view control on your yoke, it's right there on that hat. Plus there's an up and a down switch here, up and down here, left and right here. I use these two for trimming. So that's trim my nose down, trim my nose up, rudder left, rudder right. And I could feasibly do this on aileron trim left and right if I wanted to as well. In addition to that though, if you look really closely here, there's an LCD panel on the front. So this LCD panel doesn't come out very well on camera, but what it has is it shows you up here in this top line the mode that you're in, and underneath here there are different functions. So currently it's showing time of day, and I can change that function over here to a stopwatch. So if I'm doing standard rate turns, I can start a stopwatch and start timing my distance on each leg before doing the turn, which is great. The modes are actually rolled with a wheel on the front of the right handle of the yoke here. You can't see it on the panel again because of the limitations of cameras, I'm afraid, but I can switch the mode here, and there is custom software that you run on your desktop which lets you program what all these buttons do outside of the sim. Each mode switches the configuration of all these buttons. So there are in total 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 buttons times 3 because you have those different modes. So tons of buttons on the yoke. Let's go and look at the throttle quadrants now. Out of the box with the Saitek yoke, you get one throttle quadrant here which plugs into the yoke. The yoke actually has a USB hub built in as well, so you can plug in multiple extra devices, which is how I've got my second throttle quadrant connected. So the first one, this one, just plugs straight in there, and you've got 3 levers, which you would typically use, say, in a Cessna for throttle, prop, and mixture. Now each of these knobs, you can see there are different colored knobs. They're interchangeable. So you can just pull the knob off and put a different one on, so depending on what aircraft you're flying, you can change how the knobs look and perform. I'm currently set up to fly a twin engine Baron. So I have 2 throttles here, 2 props here, 2 mixture here, and everything's the right color and works just the way it should. There's quite a lot of tension on these. They're not that flimsy. They don't require a ton of force to move them, but they do require some force. You're not going to accidentally nudge these, unlike some of the cheaper throttles that you can get out there on the market. So that's pretty cool. At the bottom of each of these, see this red area? That is actually a button. So what I can do is if I bring any of these levers down, there's actually a click right here. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a click right there, a very substantial click. That is a programmable button. So again, it's programmable through Saitek's own desktop software, or if you're using FSUIPC, then you can hook up that button in FSUIPC. What I typically do is for my throttles, when I get down here and I hit that button, I set it up in FSUIPC as reverser. So that would be reverser left, that would be reverser right. So as soon as I land, I can pull my throttles back, just like in the real aircraft, hold reversers on, excellent. All of these levers have that push button at the bottom. In addition, as I showed you at the start of the video, there are 6 rockers down here, each of them having 2 button functions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each of these are programmable as well. And in addition, the one that is connected to the yoke, so this one is actually the yoke's built-in one, if you like. This is a separate USB one connected to the yoke, but separate device. Each of these responds to that mode switch on the yoke. So switching to mode 2 gives me a different function on all of these buttons. Mode 3, also again a different function on all of these buttons. It's pretty awesome. Alright, so in summary, like I said, I fly almost exclusively with a Saitek Yoke, these 2 throttle quadrants, this switch panel. I want to get some more. They are very modular. I can keep on bolting more and more panels up here. I want to get, there's a radio set that I want to get. I would very much like to get that, in fact. There's an autopilot stack as well. All sorts of things you can bolt on here. There's even some external instruments that you can plug on, which will show you your artificial horizon, your speed, your altimeter, and all that stuff. The options are limitless with Saitek's modular system. It's really, really cool. I have used this now for, I was trying to remember how long, years, 2 or 3 years without problem. Now I know choice of hardware is a very, very personal thing, and there are a lot of you out there who maybe don't like Saitek, and that's just fine. For me though, I've never had a problem. This yoke has worked like a dream for the few years that I've had it. It is phenomenal. I'm not using anything else, and that's coming from a CH product yoke. These throttle quadrants are perfect and so modular in that I can just change these knobs and turn it into a 4-engine Boeing 747 if I want, very easily. Very easy to program, very easy to set up. They feel incredibly satisfying to move as well, and they work like a charm. So that's my flight controls. We'll probably do another video later on showing you the other stuff that's in here, most notably the Saitek rudder pedals with toe brakes that are underneath my desk. Until then, as always, my name is Froogle. Thanks for watching.